Hello everyone. This is Six Path Weeb, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today's fanfiction explores an intriguing twist on the Naruto universe. What if the Sage of Six Paths spoke to Naruko before the Shinobi world ever came to know fear? Before we begin, a quick disclaimer. The content on this channel is created for entertainment and discussion purposes only. I do not own any of the anime footage used in my videos. All rights and credits belong to their respective creators and copyright holders. Now, let's begin. For as long as Naruko Uzumaki could remember, her life had been confusing and lonely. She lived in the village hidden in the leaves, a place full of busy streets, tall trees, and kind people, yet somehow, those same people often looked at her with cold and distant eyes. Naruko never understood why. Whenever she walked through the village, whispers followed her. Some people avoided her completely. Others frowned as if they expected trouble, even when she was just quietly passing by. Because of this, Naruko sometimes played harmless pranks, not to hurt anyone, but to make people notice her, to make them laugh, or even just to hear her name spoken out loud. Still, the laughter she hoped for rarely came. One quiet evening, as the sun dipped behind the rooftops and painted the sky gold, Naruko found herself alone in a narrow alley. A group of villagers stood nearby, their expressions tense and uneasy. Naruko's heart beat quickly, not out of anger, but out of confusion. Why did they look at me like that? She wondered. She took a small step back, her hands trembling. She wanted to speak, to ask what she had done wrong, but no words came out. Her throat felt tight, and her thoughts swirled like leaves in the wind. Then suddenly, everything around her seemed to fade. Naruko opened her eyes to a strange place. It was dim and quiet, with soft echoes bouncing off unseen walls. The ground beneath her feet felt cool, and the air carried a faint, watery scent. "Where am I?" she asked softly. "Come closer," a deep voice replied, not unkind, but powerful and steady. Naruko hesitated, then slowly followed the sound. Ahead of her stood a large gate with strong bars and a symbol at its center. Behind it, she could see a massive figure curled calmly, its presence both mysterious and ancient. It was a great fox with 9 flowing tails. "You are not afraid," the fox observed, its voice thoughtful. Naruko hugged her arms close. "I am. A little," she admitted honestly. "But I also want to understand." The fox blinked, surprised. "You are different," it said. "You listen before you judge." Naruko tilted her head. "Everyone deserves to be heard," she said quietly. For a moment, the fox said nothing. Then, its voice softened. "You carry great strength within you, Naruko. Not just power, but kindness. That is far rarer." Naruko's eyes widened. "Strength? Me?" Before the fox could answer, a warm light filled the space. Naruko turned and saw a gentle figure standing nearby, a tall person with bright hair and kind eyes. There was something familiar about her, something comforting. "Hello, Naruko," the figure said with a soft smile. Naruko stepped forward. "Who are you?" "I am someone who cares about you very much," the figure replied. "And I want you to know something important." Naruko listened carefully. "You were given a special responsibility," the figure continued. "Inside you is a great power, but it does not define who you are. What matters most is your heart, and your heart is full of courage and compassion." Naruko looked down, thinking about all the times she felt unwanted. "But why don't people see that?" she asked. "Sometimes," the figure said gently, "people don't understand what they cannot see. But understanding can grow, just like friendship." Naruko slowly nodded. "So what should I do?" she asked. The figure smiled warmly. "Be yourself. Keep your kindness. Help others, even when it is difficult. In time, people will see you, not for what they fear, but for who you truly are." Naruko took a deep breath. Something inside her felt lighter. She turned once more toward the great fox. This time, she gave a small, brave smile. "Maybe we can learn from each other too," she said. The fox watched her quietly, then gave a slow nod. "Perhaps we can," it replied. When Naruko opened her eyes again, she was back in the village. The evening breeze brushed past her, gentle and calm. The villagers were still there, but something had changed. Naruko stood a little taller. She was still the same girl, curious, energetic, and full of dreams. But now she understood something important. She didn't need to change who she was to be accepted. She only needed to keep moving forward, one kind step at a time. And somewhere deep inside her, a quiet strength, and a new friendship, began to grow. Naruko blinked slowly as her father's warm voice echoed in her heart. My dear Naruko, I love you. Your mother loves you too. We are so proud of you, and we will always watch over you from above. I will fix the seal this time. But this is the last time I can do this, he said gently. Naruko nodded, holding on to every word. Even though she had just met him, she felt safe and understood. Her father smiled kindly. I still have a little time. Let's take a look at those eyes of yours. Naruko tilted her head, confused. My eyes? A soft shimmer appeared in front of her, forming a mirror. She stepped closer and looked at her reflection. Her bright blue eyes had changed. Gentle ripple-like circles surrounded her pupils, and a soft red glow filled them. They're different, she whispered. Her father nodded thoughtfully. Those are called the Rinnegan, Naruko. They are very special. I think I understand how you came to have them. Naruko turned toward him, curious. Why do I have them? Before answering, he asked, do you remember how to control your chakra? She nodded. Good, he said, patting her head warmly. Now relax, and gently pull your chakra back. Naruko took a deep breath and calmed herself. Slowly, the strange glow faded, and her eyes returned to their usual bright blue. Her father smiled with quiet pride. There they are. Just like mine. Naruko beamed. But why do I have the Rinnegan? Her father paused, then glanced into the distance. I think we need some help answering that. The world around them shifted, and suddenly they stood in a dim, quiet space. A large presence stirred nearby. A deep voice echoed, so, you've returned. Naruko felt a little nervous, but her father gently held her hand, reassuring her. We're here for answers, her father said calmly. Why does she have those eyes? The great fox, whose name was Kurama, spoke more softly this time. Long ago, a wise figure known as the Sage of Six Paths had those eyes. They appear when different kinds of chakra come together in harmony. Naruko listened carefully, though it sounded complicated. Kurama continued, some of that rare chakra found its way into me long ago. Over time, it blended with Naruko's own chakra. That is how she awakened the Rinnegan. Though hers is unique. Naruko blinked. I think I understand. A little. Her father chuckled. That's enough for now. Let's try something. He smiled at her. Focus your chakra into your eyes again. Naruko did as she was told. This time, there was no discomfort, only a gentle warmth. Her special eyes returned. Her father's eyes shone with pride. You can control them. That's a wonderful gift, Naruko. Why does that matter? She asked. Because, he said gently, not everyone will understand your power. It's good that you can choose when to show it. Naruko nodded slowly. Her father's form began to shimmer faintly. Naruko. My time is almost up. Her eyes widened. Already? He knelt beside her. Listen carefully. Trust your heart. Be kind. Make friends. Don't let sadness or anger guide you. You are strong, not just in power, but in spirit. Tears filled Naruko's eyes. I'll try. I know you will, he said softly. And someday, your mother will speak with you too. She's very spirited, you'll see. Naruko smiled through her tears. I love you, he said. I love you too, Dad, she whispered. With that, he faded away like a gentle breeze. For a moment, Naruko stood quietly. Then Kurama spoke again, his voice calmer than before. Little one, when you need guidance, you can always come here in your thoughts. Naruko nodded. Thank you, Kurama. The world around her shifted again. Outside, everything had barely changed. It was as if only a second had passed. Naruko opened her eyes. She felt a strange energy within her, not frightening, but strong and steady. She remembered her father's words. Trust your heart. Taking a deep breath, she gently raised her hands and focused her chakra, not to harm, but to protect. A soft wave of energy spread outward, creating space between her and the crowd around her. No one was hurt, just gently moved back, as if pushed by a strong gust of wind. Naruko lowered her hands, breathing slowly. She felt tired, but calm. That should be enough, she murmured. Her eyes returned to their normal blue as she sat down, resting. Soon after, a masked shinobi arrived quietly and carefully lifted her. She's safe, he said softly to himself. Naruko, half asleep, smiled faintly. Somewhere deep inside, she could still feel the warmth of her father's presence, and the promise that she was never truly alone. And so, Naruko's journey continued, filled with hope, kindness, and the quiet strength growing in her heart. Naruto became Naruko, a bright and determined young girl with golden hair and curious eyes that seemed to hold many secrets. She spent the next day resting quietly in the hospital, wrapped in soft blankets and watched over by kind nurses. The Hokage had said she needed time to recover from a very difficult experience, and everyone agreed that she deserved peace and care. The village had grown calmer after that day. People who had once acted harshly were now kept at a distance, and the Hokage made sure Naruko would be safe. Though she didn't fully understand everything that had happened, she could feel that someone was looking out for her. At night, gentle guardians watched over her small apartment, making sure she could sleep without worry. When Naruko finally felt strong enough, she stepped outside again. The fresh air felt wonderful, and the sunlight warmed her face. She stretched her arms and smiled softly. There was still so much she wanted to learn, especially about her mysterious eyes and the strange abilities she had begun to notice. Training, however, was not easy. Naruko discovered she could move things in unusual ways. Sometimes, objects would slide away from her as if pushed by an invisible breeze. Other times, they would gently glide toward her, like leaves drifting on water. She practiced these skills far away from the village, where it was quiet and peaceful. The fox spirit inside her, Kurama, had suggested this, saying it was better to learn in secret until she understood her powers fully. Naruko agreed. She didn't want to cause confusion or draw attention before she was ready. Still, life at the academy weighed on her heart. As the months passed, she noticed how different things felt compared to what she had once imagined. The teachers often overlooked her, and her classmates rarely spoke to her. Even when she tried to be cheerful or playful, it felt like her efforts disappeared into silence. It made her wonder if she truly belonged there. One afternoon, while sitting quietly at her desk, Naruko sighed. If they really knew me, she thought, maybe things would be different. Just then, a familiar voice echoed gently in her mind. Naruko, Kurama called. Come speak with me. Close your eyes. She did as she was told and soon found herself standing in the warm, glowing space of her inner world. The great fox watched her with calm, knowing eyes. What is it, Kurama? She asked. The fox flicked his tail thoughtfully. You're not thinking of telling everyone about your past, are you? Naruko shook her head with a small smile. No. I've been thinking. I used to try so hard just to be noticed. I thought if I made people laugh, they might like me. But now, I feel different. I don't need to prove myself like that anymore. Kurama studied her for a moment, then gave a quiet nod. That's growth, Naruko. You're beginning to understand your own strength. She sat down, listening closely. There's something important about your eyes, Kurama continued. They are special, shaped by both your own power and mine. You can control them more easily than most, and they won't tire you quickly. That is a rare gift. Naruko's eyes lit up with curiosity. She remembered practicing with special paper that reacted to her energy in surprising ways, crinkling, dampening, crumbling, warming, and even splitting. It had amazed her to see how many abilities she might one day master. It means you have great potential, Kurama said. But potential takes patience. Naruko nodded thoughtfully. Then I'll keep trying. Little by little. A gentle determination settled in her heart. She no longer felt like she needed the approval of others to move forward. What mattered was growing stronger, kinder, and wiser each day. When she opened her eyes again, the classroom looked the same, but Naruko felt different. And that made all the difference. Naruko stood at the edge of the quiet pond, her reflection shimmering softly in the water. The breeze brushed past her cheeks as she focused, trying once again to guide the water using her chakra. She held out her hands, determined. A few tiny droplets rose from the pond and hovered uncertainly before falling back with small ripples. Naruko sighed. Just a few drops again. Inside her mind, Kurama stretched lazily, her deep voice echoing with calm patience. You're improving, even if it doesn't feel like it. Nature transformation takes time. Naruko crossed her arms. But I thought I'd at least make a splash by now. Kurama chuckled softly. You're thinking too big too soon. Even the strongest abilities start small. Something interesting is happening, though. Naruko tilted her head. What do you mean? Well, Kurama began, your chakra is changing. As you practice with water, it's slowly blending with the other types of chakra inside you. Naruko blinked. Blending? Like mixing? Exactly, Kurama said. Long ago, the first Hokage, Hashirama Senju, could use wood release, a rare ability created by combining water and earth chakra. It wasn't something he forced. It came naturally to him. Naruko's eyes widened with wonder. Are you saying I could do that too? Kurama nodded thoughtfully. In time, yes. But not just that. If you continue practicing and learning, you might discover other unique combinations as well. Your chakra is special, Naruko, but it needs patience to grow. Naruko's face lit up like sunshine. That means I can protect everyone someday. I can become Hokage for sure. She began spinning happily, imagining grand adventures and heroic moments. For a brief second, even the air around her seemed to carry the warm, comforting scent of her favorite food. Inside her mind, Kurama shook her head with a soft laugh. You really are something. After a moment, Kurama added gently, all right, that's enough excitement for now. Go back and focus on your day. Naruko nodded and opened her eyes. Back in the classroom, Naruko blinked in surprise. Every student was staring at her. Oh. Standing at the front was their instructor, Iruka Umino, looking directly at her with raised eyebrows. Naruko Uzumaki, he said firmly, if I catch you sleeping again, there will be consequences. Naruko rubbed the back of her head. Again? But I was just thinking. Iruka stepped forward and lightly tapped her on the head. Like this. The class burst into laughter, and even Iruka smiled a little. Naruko sat there, surprised. He noticed me. She thought quietly. Now pay attention, Iruka said, his tone softer this time. This lesson is important. Naruko nodded, though she couldn't help but grin. But Iruka-sensei, when will we learn real jutsu? I want to become Hokage someday. Iruka folded his arms. Understanding the basics will help you more than rushing ahead. Trust the process. I will, Naruko said confidently. From across the room, a pink-haired girl huffed. As if she'll understand anything. Naruko just shrugged with a playful smile. We'll see. Inside, though, she felt something different. A quiet determination. Later that day, Naruko wandered outside, enjoying the fresh air after a long lesson. As she walked, she noticed something unusual. A tall man in a bright green outfit was striking energetic poses, while a boy nearby copied him with equal enthusiasm. I am Konoha's sublime green beast of prey, Might Guy. The man declared proudly. The boy beamed. I am Rock Lee. And I will do my best. Naruko blinked. That's a lot of energy. She stepped closer, curious. Rock Lee suddenly spoke more quietly. But I cannot use chakra like others. Naruko's smile faded. She didn't know him, but she felt a tug of empathy. Might Guy placed a reassuring hand on Lee's shoulder. That does not define you. There are many paths to greatness. Naruko watched carefully, her eyes shining with interest. Guy then formed hand signs with precision and focus. Naruko leaned forward, memorizing every movement. Summoning technique. He called. Naruko's heart raced, not out of fear, but excitement. There's so much to learn, she thought. As the wind gently rustled the leaves around them, Naruko smiled to herself. Her journey had only just begun, and already, the world felt full of endless possibilities. Naruko watched quietly, curious about what might happen next. Suddenly, out of nowhere, a small turtle appeared. Whoa, Naruko said softly in surprise. Her voice caught the attention of Rock Lee and Might Guy, who both turned toward her direction. Just as quickly as it had appeared, the turtle vanished. Come out, young observer, Might Guy called kindly. It is not very youthful to hide away. Naruko blinked, realizing she had been noticed. With a slightly nervous but cheerful smile, she stepped forward. I'm sorry, she said. Your introduction was so amazing, I couldn't help but watch. Might Guy's serious expression melted into a bright grin. Ah. A spirited student. I did not know you enjoyed such energetic displays, Naruko Uzumaki, he said enthusiastically. This calls for a celebratory pose. Naruko quickly lifted a hand. Wait. But it was too late. Might Guy struck a dramatic pose, full of enthusiasm. Naruko froze for a moment, unsure whether to laugh or hide, while Lee's eyes sparkled with admiration. I shall train you, Might Guy declared to Lee, so your determination can shine brightly through taijutsu. Lee beamed with excitement. Naruko hesitated, then spoke up. Guy-sensei. Could you teach me too? Might Guy paused, considering her request. 2 eager students? He said thoughtfully. That is wonderful. However, I have already taken Lee as my apprentice. Naruko nodded, understanding. Even so, she couldn't help feeling a tiny bit disappointed. But then Might Guy's expression softened. How could I turn away such enthusiasm? He said warmly. While I cannot teach you my main style, I can guide you in another, one that flows like water and adapts with grace. Naruko's eyes lit up. This is called the flowing palm, he explained, handing her a scroll. It teaches balance, how to move smoothly, respond gently, and stay steady. Thank you, Naruko said, holding the scroll carefully. Train well. Might Guy declared. Let your youthful spirit shine. With that, he dashed off energetically. Dash. Later, Naruko returned home and unrolled the scroll. Flowing palm. She read aloud. The words described a style that encouraged harmony, moving with calm focus, responding instead of rushing, and staying balanced in both body and mind. That sounds peaceful, she said thoughtfully. She spent the evening practicing gentle movements, imagining herself flowing like water in a stream. Dash. Over the next few weeks, Naruko trained alongside Lee and Might Guy. Lee's determination inspired her, and she worked hard to learn the new techniques. Although she enjoyed the practice, Naruko realized something important: she liked exploring many kinds of skills, not just one. One day, while thinking about new techniques, she remembered the mysterious ability she had seen before. I wonder if I can try that, she said. Trusting her instincts, she carefully focused her energy and performed the summoning gesture. To her amazement, a large, graceful eagle appeared before her. Naruko's eyes widened. Wow! Inside her mind, a calm voice spoke. It was Kurama. Be mindful, Kurama said. Use your abilities wisely, and listen to your instincts. Naruko nodded. She gently thought, flap your wings. The eagle responded immediately. This is incredible, she whispered. With careful thought, she climbed onto the eagle's back. Together, they soared gently above the village, high enough to enjoy the view but still safe and steady. Naruko laughed with joy as the wind brushed past her. This feels like flying in a dream, she said. After some time, she returned to the ground, feeling a little tired but very happy. Dash. As days passed, Naruko practiced controlling her abilities with care. She learned to summon different animals, always treating them with kindness and respect. Though she sometimes felt lonely, she began to realize something important. She wasn't alone. She had Lee, who always encouraged her. She had Might Guy, who believed in her spirit. And she had Kurama, who quietly guided her. Naruko smiled to herself. Maybe, she said softly, this is just the beginning of something wonderful. With renewed determination, she decided to visit the Hokage, not out of frustration, but with confidence. She was ready to learn more, grow stronger, and discover her own path. And this time, she would do it with hope in her heart. I would, Naruko said with a playful grin, her eyes sparkling with mischief. So it's your call. The clerk let out a tired sigh but stepped aside to let her in. Naruko's smile widened. Now that's more like it, she said cheerfully. The woman behind the desk frowned, but Naruko simply stood tall, clearly pleased with herself for finding a clever way inside. Inside the office, the Hokage sat at his desk, quickly shuffling some papers as Naruko walked in. He looked a little surprised to see her so suddenly. I knew you weren't too busy, old man, Naruko said with a friendly grin. The Hokage adjusted himself and gave a small chuckle. Naruko, I've had a long day of paperwork, he said. But since you came all this way, I'm sure you have something important to tell me. Go on. Naruko nodded, suddenly more serious. Yeah, I do. I came here for something that belongs to me. The Hokage raised an eyebrow. Oh? Not your allowance, I hope. You're usually very good at saving. Naruko shook her head. Not that. This is a secret, so I want to tell you alone. The Hokage nodded and signaled for privacy. Once they were alone, he leaned forward. All right, Naruko. What is it? Naruko took a deep breath and focused. A gentle glow appeared in her eyes, changing their color in a surprising way. The Hokage's eyes widened in amazement. Is that? Not what you think, Naruko said calmly. This is something different. I don't fully understand it yet, but I know it's special. The Hokage sat back, clearly surprised but also thoughtful. Do you know how you got it? Naruko shook her head. Not exactly. But I want to learn. I want to grow stronger and understand what I can do. She paused before continuing, her voice steady. I also learned something important. About my family. The Hokage's expression softened. I see. Naruko looked at him with determination. I know you were trying to protect me, and I understand that. But now I'm ready to learn more. I want to train properly. The Hokage smiled gently, clearly proud of her maturity. You've grown a lot, Naruko. He stood up and walked to a shelf, pulling out a scroll marked with a spiral symbol. This was created by your father. It's a special technique called the Rasengan. It takes focus, patience, and creativity. Naruko's eyes lit up with excitement. Really? That sounds amazing. He handed her the scroll. It responds only to you. Give it a try. Naruko carefully followed his instructions, and the scroll opened for her. She looked inside, her curiosity growing. It says I need water balloons and air balloons? She asked, puzzled. The Hokage chuckled. It's a way to help you understand how to shape your energy. Step by step, you'll learn control and precision. Naruko nodded eagerly. I'm going to master it. The Hokage then handed her a small green book. This is about sealing techniques. It's a detailed and careful art, but I believe you can learn it. Naruko held the book close. I'll study it properly. One more thing, the Hokage added, writing something down. This is a special technique that lets you create shadow clones. They can help you train faster because what they learn, you learn too. Naruko's eyes widened with amazement. That's incredible. I can learn so much. Her excitement filled the room, and the Hokage smiled warmly. That's the spirit. Naruko jumped up happily. Thank you. I won't waste this chance. As she turned to leave, the Hokage called out, and don't forget your academy classes. Naruko groaned playfully but laughed. I know. With that, she dashed out of the office, full of energy and ready to begin her journey of learning, discovery, and growth. The next 2 months were bright and full of discovery for Naruko Uzumaki. She learned the shadow clone technique in less than an hour, which surprised even her. Soon she could create hundreds, sometimes even 1,000, cheerful copies of herself, each ready to help her learn something new. Naruko divided her clones into groups. Some practiced gentle palm flow exercises, moving like leaves in the wind, while others worked carefully on forming the Rasengan, guided by notes from her father's scroll. She had also asked the Hokage about nature transformation, and he kindly gave her a scroll that explained wind chakra. With the help of her clones, Naruko practiced splitting leaves using wind energy. She didn't have a waterfall nearby to continue the next stage, so she patiently set that part aside. Instead, she focused on water training. At first, she practiced gathering small amounts of water into a bottle, and gradually she learned how to guide water into smooth, flowing streams. She practiced this again and again until it felt as natural as breathing. One day, Kurama spoke to her gently. You've been blending your wind and water chakra very well, he said. Because of that, you've started creating something new, ice chakra. Naruko's eyes lit up with curiosity. She tried it out and found she could freeze tiny bits of moisture in the air, forming delicate crystals that sparkled in the sunlight. She wasn't sure yet how to turn it into a full technique, but Kurama encouraged her to study hand seals and keep experimenting. Alongside all this, Naruko discovered she had a special talent for sealing techniques. She read her sealing book twice and even began mixing her own chakra-infused ink. She treated it like art, designing her own symbols and patterns. To keep her small apartment safe, she created simple seals that would gently alert her if someone entered without permission, nothing harmful, just a clever little warning system. At the academy, Naruko sometimes felt overlooked. Many students admired Sasuke Uchiha, and while she didn't mind admiration, she wished people would notice effort and kindness too. One afternoon, while she was quietly reading about advanced sealing techniques, Sakura Haruno approached her. That book looks interesting, Sakura said, reaching for it. Naruko held it gently. I'm still reading it. You can borrow it after I'm done. Sakura hesitated, then nodded. Okay. Maybe you can show me something from it later? Naruko smiled. Sure. Learning together is more fun anyway. From that day on, things felt a little better. When Naruko's birthday arrived on October 10th, she chose to spend it outside the village, not out of fear, but because she loved training in nature. Surrounded by trees and open skies, she practiced earth-style techniques. Slowly, she discovered she could combine earth and water to create wood chakra. When she added wind into the mix, she even formed a shimmering crystal-like energy that made the ground sparkle beautifully. Shouldn't you be celebrating? Kurama asked. Naruko laughed softly. I am. This is what I love doing. Still, she knew there was more to learn. She turned her attention back to the Rasengan. With all her clones helping, she focused on combining it with wind chakra. After hours of practice, she paused, took a deep breath, and tried once more. A swirling blue sphere formed in her hand, now threaded with soft, shimmering currents of wind. It hummed gently, like a breeze on a quiet day. I think I did it, she whispered. She carefully released the energy toward a fallen log nearby. The log split cleanly and neatly, as if shaped by invisible hands. That was beautifully done, Kurama said, sounding impressed. Naruko beamed. Fuuten, Rasengan. She looked at her hands, amazed at how far she had come. Not just stronger, but more patient, more thoughtful. Kurama spoke again, his voice warm. You have great potential, Naruko. Keep going, and you'll achieve wonderful things. Naruko nodded. Then let's keep learning. Next, would release. With determination and a hopeful heart, she opened her scrolls again, ready for the next adventure. 2 more months passed, and a deep sadness quietly settled over the Hidden Leaf village. The once lively Uchiha district became still and silent, and only one young member of the clan, Sasuke Uchiha, remained. It was said that his older brother, Itachi, had left the village under mysterious circumstances. No one fully understood what had happened, and many chose to speak of it gently, especially around Sasuke. Sasuke changed after that. He became quieter, often keeping to himself, carrying a weight that others could sense but not quite understand. Though many students admired him from afar, he seemed distant, like someone lost in thought. Naruko Uzumaki noticed this. She had always been energetic and full of life, but she could recognize loneliness when she saw it, because she had felt it too. Both she and Sasuke came from strong, well-known families, yet now they stood alone in their own ways. Naruko often thought about talking to him, maybe offering a kind word or simply sitting beside him. But each time, she hesitated, unsure of how to begin. Instead, she watched from a distance, hoping he would find his smile again someday. While these quiet changes unfolded, Naruko herself had been growing stronger. She had spent countless days training with determination and curiosity. She learned to control several basic elements with ease and even discovered unique abilities connected to wood style. With patience and creativity, she experimented with gentle ice and crystal techniques, shaping them into beautiful, shimmering forms that reflected her bright spirit. Then, one crisp morning in January, Naruko received an unexpected message. She was to report to the Hokage's office immediately. She dashed through the village streets, her heart full of excitement and questions. When she arrived, the Hokage greeted her with a warm, thoughtful smile. Naruko, he said, I have an important mission for you. Naruko blinked in surprise. A mission? For me? She asked, straightening up. The Hokage nodded. You will be traveling to Uzushigakur, the village where your clan once lived. And you won't be going alone. Just then, the window slid open with a soft creak, and a tall man with long white hair stepped inside as if the wind itself had brought him. Hey there, he said cheerfully. It's me, Jiraiya, the great toad sage. He struck a dramatic pose, holding up a small toad as if introducing a grand performance. Naruko stared for a moment, then rubbed the back of her head with a small laugh. She could already tell, this journey was going to be unlike anything she had experienced before. And somewhere deep inside, she felt it might lead her not only to new skills and adventures, but also closer to understanding where she truly belonged. Dear YouTube family. That's all for now. If you enjoyed this, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Your support keeps this journey going. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring. Thank you. Regards. 6 Path Weeb.